In which county of England would you find Berkeley Castle? Gloucestershire. Berkeley Castle is a medieval castle located in Gloucestershire, England, notable for its significant historical events, including the murder of Edward II. It is one of the oldest continuously inhabited castles in England. On November 6, 1860, who was elected as the American president? Abraham Lincoln. On November 6, 1860, Abraham Lincoln was elected as the 16th President of the United States. His election was a significant catalyst leading to the secession of southern states and the American Civil War. On which river does Limerick stand? Shannon. Limerick, a major city in Ireland, is situated on the River Shannon. The Shannon is the longest river in Ireland, playing a crucial role in the country's geography, history, and economy. An orangutan is a large primate found only on which two islands? Borneo, Sumatra. Orangutans are large arboreal primates native to the rainforests of Borneo and Sumatra in Southeast Asia. These critically endangered species are vital to their ecosystems, primarily known for their intelligence and tool use. Which helicopter, manufactured by Westland, has been commonly used by British forces in combat areas over the last 30 years? Sea King. The Westland Sea King is a British license-built version of the American Sikorsky S-61 helicopter, widely used by the Royal Navy and Royal Air Force for anti-submarine warfare and search and rescue missions since the late 1960s. Its operational history spans several decades and combat zones, making it a significant piece of military aviation history. Which Rodgers and Hart musical was based on Shakespeare's Comedy of Errors? The Boys from Syracuse. The Boys from Syracuse is a musical comedy by Richard Rodgers and Lorenz Hart, which premiered in 1938. It is notable for being the first Broadway musical based on a Shakespearean play, specifically, The Comedy of Errors, adapting its plot about mistaken identities involving two sets of twins. Selçuk, a Turkish town, is home to one of the 7 ancient wonders of the world. What was the city's name in ancient times? Ephesus. Ephesus was an ancient Greek city on the coast of Ionia, famous for the Temple of Artemis, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Located near modern-day Selçuk, Turkey, it was a significant center for trade, culture, and religion, and played a crucial role in early Christianity. Bodrum, a Turkish town, is home to one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. What was its name in ancient times? Halicarnassus. Halicarnassus was an ancient Greek city, now modern Bodrum in Turkey, renowned for the mausoleum at Halicarnassus. This elaborate tomb, built for Mausolus, a satrap in the Persian Empire, was one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, giving us the word mausoleum. Who was the chairman of the BBC Trust, the overseeing body of the BBC? Chris Patten. Chris Patten served as the chairman of the BBC Trust from 2011 to 2014. The BBC Trust was the governing body of the British Broadcasting Corporation, responsible for upholding the interests of licence fee payers and ensuring the BBC's independence and public service remit. Which helicopter, manufactured by Sikorsky, has been commonly used by US forces in combat areas over the last 30 years? Black Hawk. The Sikorsky UH-60 Black Hawk is a 4-bladed, twin-engine, medium-lift utility helicopter manufactured by Sikorsky Aircraft. It entered service with the U.S. Army in 1979 and has since been extensively used in various combat and humanitarian operations worldwide, becoming a prominent symbol of modern military aviation. How many American states begin with the letter A? 4. The 4 American states that begin with the letter A are Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, and Arkansas. This is a common type of general knowledge question testing familiarity with geographical facts. How many American states begin with the letter W? 4. The 4 American states that begin with the letter W are Washington, Wisconsin, West Virginia, and Wyoming. Such questions often appear in competitive exams to test basic geographical knowledge and attention to detail. Which British composer wrote the music used as the theme for Desert Island Discs? He also composed the Dambusters March and the Knightsbridge March. Eric Coates. Eric Coates was a prominent English composer known for his light music, marches, and orchestral suites. His Dambusters March is particularly iconic, associated with the 1955 film, The Dambusters, depicting a daring World War II raid. Which French artist painted Cotton Broker's Office, L'Absinthe, and Dancer at the Bar? Edgar Degas. Edgar Degas was a French artist famous for his paintings, sculptures, prints, and drawings, particularly his depictions of dancers and subjects from modern life. He is considered one of the founders of Impressionism, though he preferred to be called a realist. What insect acts as the transmitting agent in the spread of the infectious disease, bubonic plague? Flea. The bubonic plague, caused by the bacterium Yersinia pestis, is primarily transmitted to humans through the bites of infected fleas. These fleas typically live on rodents, and when the rodents die, the fleas seek new hosts, including humans, leading to the spread of the disease. The element hafnium, HF, on the periodic table derives its name from the Latin name for the city where it was discovered. Which city is this? Copenhagen. Hafnium, HF, atomic number 72, was discovered in 1923 by Dirk Koster and George de Havesy in Copenhagen, Denmark. Its name is derived from Hafnia, the Latin name for Copenhagen, honoring the city of its discovery. Who was the British Prime Minister during the War of American Independence, often blamed for the inept policies and military failures that led to the loss of the American colonies? Lord North. Frederick North, Lord North, served as Prime Minister of Great Britain from 1770 to 1782, a period marked by the American War of Independence. His administration's policies, including taxing the American colonies, exacerbated tensions and ultimately contributed to the loss of the colonies. Written in honor of his friend Arthur Hallam, the poem, In Memoriam, was published in 1850. Who was the author of this poem, who was also appointed Poet Laureate in the same year? Alfred, Lord Tennyson. In Memoriam AHH is a monumental elegiac poem by Alfred, Lord Tennyson, written to commemorate his dearest friend Arthur Henry Hallam. Published in 1850, the same year Tennyson was appointed Poet Laureate, it explores themes of grief, faith, and doubt, becoming one of the most significant works of Victorian poetry. Composed as an elegy following the death of his friend John Keats, the poem, Adonais, was written in 1821 by which poet? Shelley. Percy Bysshe Shelley, a prominent figure of the Romantic movement, composed Adonais in 1821. This pastoral elegy mourns the death of his fellow poet John Keats and reflects on themes of immortality and suffering. Who was the British Prime Minister who reluctantly involved his country in the Crimean War and was subsequently blamed for its mismanagement and obliged to resign? Lord Aberdeen. George Hamilton Gordon, 4th Earl of Aberdeen, served as Prime Minister during the initial stages of the Crimean War, 1853 to 1856. Despite his reluctance, his government faced heavy criticism for the war's mismanagement and logistical failures, leading to his resignation in 1855. Which French artist painted Haystacks, Rouen Cathedral, and Sunrise? Monet. Claude Monet was a pivotal figure in the Impressionist movement, renowned for his innovative use of light and color. His iconic series, Haystacks, and Rouen Cathedral, captured the changing effects of light over time, while Impression, Sunrise, gave the movement its name. Which insect acts as the transmitting agent in the spread of the infectious disease, sleeping sickness? Tsetse fly. African trypanosomiasis, commonly known as sleeping sickness, is a parasitic disease spread by the tsetse fly, genus Glossina. The tsetse fly transmits the trypanosoma parasite to humans and other animals, primarily in sub-Saharan Africa. The element of the periodic table lutetium has its name derived from the Latin name for the city in which it was discovered. Which city? Paris. Lutetium, Lu, a rare earth element with atomic number 71, was discovered independently by George Urbain, Carl R. von Welsbach, and Charles James. Its name is derived from Lutetia, the ancient Roman name for Paris, France, where Urbain worked. What was the name of the German terrorist gang of the 1970s and 80s? With a Marxist ideology, they committed over 30 murders and around 300 bomb attacks. Baadermeinhof. The Baader-Meinhof Group, officially known as the Red Army Faction, RAF, was a far-left West German militant organization active from the 1970s to the 1990s. Driven by a Marxist ideology, they engaged in a campaign of bombings, assassinations, and kidnappings. What was the name of the Italian terrorist group of the 1970s and 80s, which had a Marxist ideology and committed numerous crimes and murders, including that of Prime Minister Aldo Moro? Red Brigade. The Red Brigades were a far-left terrorist organization in Italy, active predominantly during the Years of Lead, from the late 1960s to the early 1980s. They were responsible for kidnappings, assassinations, and bombings, most notably the 1978 kidnapping and murder of former Prime Minister Aldo Moro, aiming to destabilize the state and provoke a revolution. Who was the Prime Minister of Spain amidst the country's economic challenges? Mariano Rajoy. Mariano Rajoy served as the Prime Minister of Spain from 2011 to 2018, leading the Conservative People's Party. His tenure was marked by efforts to address the severe economic crisis and high unemployment rates facing Spain during that period. Who was the Prime Minister of Greece during a period of significant economic challenges? Antonis Samaras. Antonis Samaras served as the Prime Minister of Greece from 2012 to 2014, leading a coalition government during a critical phase of the Greek sovereign debt crisis. His administration implemented austerity measures and structural reforms mandated by international creditors to stabilize the national economy. Which famous musical work includes sections titled The Great Gate of Kiev and Catacombs? Pictures at an Exhibition. Pictures at an Exhibition is a celebrated suite of 10 pieces composed by Modest Mussorgsky in 1874, inspired by a memorial exhibition of artworks by Victor Hartmann. The Great Gate of Kiev is the majestic final movement, and Catacombs is a somber piece representing an exploration of Roman catacombs. Bourbon whiskey is named after a county in which U.S. state? Kentucky. Bourbon whiskey is a type of American whiskey, a barrel-aged distilled spirit primarily made from corn. It is named after Bourbon County, Kentucky, which was a significant shipping port for distilled spirits in the 18th century, solidifying Kentucky's association with its production. Which planet in the solar system had its status changed in 2006 by the International Astronomical Union when it was reclassified as a dwarf planet? Pluto. Pluto was reclassified as a dwarf planet by the International Astronomical Union, IAU, in 2006. This decision established new criteria for defining a planet, which Pluto did not fully meet, primarily due to its inability to clear its orbit of other debris. Who developed the first successful vaccine for smallpox? Edward Jenner. Edward Jenner, an English physician, is credited with developing the world's first vaccine in 1796 for smallpox. His pioneering work laid the foundation for vaccinology and significantly contributed to the eradication of smallpox, a deadly infectious disease. Who was the chief executive of RBS Bank who resigned in 2009, a month before RBS announced a loss of £24 billion, the largest loss in UK corporate history? Fred Goodwin. Fred Goodwin was the chief executive of the Royal Bank of Scotland, RBS, who resigned in 2009. His departure preceded the announcement of a record £24 billion loss, a significant event during the 2008 financial crisis, highlighting major failures in corporate governance and risk management within the banking sector. What was the title of Émile Zola's classic novel about a French coal miners' strike in the 1860s? Germinal. Germinal, published in 1885, is one of Émile Zola's most famous novels and a masterpiece of naturalism. It vividly portrays the harsh lives of coal miners in northern France during the 1860s and the social injustices that led to their strike, offering a powerful critique of industrial capitalism. Who was the chief executive of Barclays Bank who resigned in July 2012 after Barclays had been severely fined for fixing LIBOR rates? Bob Diamond. Bob Diamond resigned as chief executive of Barclays in July 2012 amidst a scandal where the bank was fined for manipulating LIBOR, London Interbank Offered Rate. This event underscored systemic issues in global financial markets, leading to increased regulatory scrutiny and efforts to reform benchmark interest rates. Who developed the first successful vaccine for polio? Jonas Salk. Jonas Salk developed the first effective inactivated polio vaccine, IPV, announced to the world in 1955. His vaccine significantly reduced the incidence of polio, a devastating infectious disease, and paved the way for its eventual near eradication globally. Which planet in the solar system is closest to Earth in size and mass? Venus. Venus is often called Earth's sister planet because of their similar size, mass, and density. It is the second planet from the Sun and has a thick, toxic atmosphere that traps heat in a runaway greenhouse effect, making it the hottest planet in our solar system. What is the second largest city in Libya? Benghazi. Benghazi is the second largest city in Libya and a major port city on the Mediterranean coast. Historically, it has been a significant cultural and economic center in the country's eastern region, Cyrenaica. Which French scientist, 1736 to 1806, is best known for his law of electrostatic force and gives his name to the unit of electric charge? Coulomb. Charles Augustin de Coulomb was a French physicist whose work laid the foundation for electromagnetism. He is best known for formulating Coulomb's law, which describes the electrostatic force between charged particles. The SI unit of electric charge, the Coulomb, C, is named in his honor. What is the name of the starch used for puddings which is obtained from the leaves of palm trees? Sago. Sago is a starch extracted from the pith of various tropical palm stems, particularly the sago palm, Metroxylon sago. It is a major staple food in parts of Southeast Asia and is commonly used in puddings, as a thickener, and in various culinary applications. Which 10-letter word is used to describe the following geographical feature: a point of high land or a cliff jutting out over the sea or other expanse of water? Promontory. A promontory is a prominent mass of land that projects out into a body of water, often forming a headland or a high point along the coast. It is typically characterized by steep slopes or cliffs and offers commanding views of the surrounding area. Which 10-letter word is used to describe the following geographical feature? A long steep slope at the edge of a plateau. Escarpment. An escarpment, also known as a scarp, is a long, steep slope or cliff that forms the edge of a plateau, mesa, or terrace. It is typically formed by erosion or faulting and represents a significant change in elevation in the landscape. What spice is obtained from grated hard aromatic seeds, sharing its name with the evergreen tree from which the seeds are obtained? Nutmeg. Nutmeg is a spice derived from the seed of the Myristica fragrans tree, an evergreen native to Indonesia. The seed is dried and then grated to produce the spice, which is known for its warm, slightly sweet, and aromatic flavor in culinary applications. Which institution did former Tory Chancellor Nigel Lawson famously refer to as the English religion? The National Health Service, NHS. Nigel Lawson, a prominent British Conservative politician and former Chancellor of the Exchequer, made this remark to highlight the profound public reverence and unique place the NHS holds in British society. The National Health Service, founded in 1948, provides comprehensive healthcare largely free at the point of use and is considered a cornerstone of the welfare state. Which marine creature, known for hunting in family groups called pods, is the largest and fastest member of the dolphin family? Killer whale, orca. The killer whale, also known as the orca, is the largest member of the oceanic dolphin family. Orcas are apex predators found in all of the world's oceans, characterized by their distinctive black and white coloration and sophisticated hunting strategies within social units called pods. The genus, Fagus, as seen in species like Fagus sylvatica and Fagus purpurea, refers to the common English name for which type of tree? Beech. Fagus is the scientific genus name for the beech tree, a deciduous tree native to temperate Europe, Asia, and North America. Species like Fagus sylvatica, European beech, and Fagus purpurea, copper beech, are well known for their smooth bark and distinctive leaves, often planted ornamentally. Which general, renowned for his military campaigns against the French during the Napoleonic Wars, was born in Glasgow in 1761 and died in Spain in 1809? Sir John Moore. Sir John Moore was a distinguished British Army general during the Napoleonic Wars, particularly famous for his leadership during the Peninsular War. He commanded British forces in the retreat to Corunna, where he was mortally wounded during the battle in 1809, securing the evacuation of his army. Which three-word phrase, coined by Shakespeare in his play, Othello, has become a common idiom for jealousy? Green-eyed monster. The phrase, green-eyed monster, was coined by William Shakespeare in his tragedy, Othello, referring to jealousy as a destructive, insatiable force. Iago uses this metaphor to warn Othello about the dangers of jealousy, a central theme in the play's tragic unfolding. Who painted the famous artwork, Girl Reading a Letter? Jan Vermeer. Girl Reading a Letter, also known as Girl Reading a Letter at an Open Window, is a celebrated painting by the Dutch Golden Age master Johannes Vermeer. Created around 1657 to 1659, it exemplifies Vermeer's characteristic use of light, domestic scenes, and meticulous detail, making it a significant work in art history. The species name, Piscia, as in, Piscia abies, and Piscia sitchensis, refers to the common English name for which tree? Spruce. Piscia is a genus of coniferous evergreen trees in the pine family Pinaceae, commonly known as spruces. These trees are known for their conical shape and are widely used for timber, paper production, and as Christmas trees. Which general, renowned for his military exploits against the French during the Napoleonic Wars, was born in St. Petersburg in 1745 and died in Russia in 1813? Mikhail Kutuzov. Mikhail Kutuzov was a Russian field marshal who played a pivotal role in the Napoleonic Wars, particularly during the Patriotic War of 1812. He is celebrated for his strategy of attrition and scorched earth tactics, which severely weakened Napoleon's Grand Army during its retreat from Russia. Which region of France is bordered by Spain to the south and by the Bay of Biscay to the west? Aquitaine. Aquitaine was a historical region in southwestern France, now part of the larger Nouvelle-Aquitaine administrative region. It is geographically significant due to its borders with Spain along the Pyrenees Mountains and its extensive coastline on the Atlantic Ocean's Bay of Biscay. In which classic novel are the two principal male characters named Pierre and André? War and Peace. War and Peace is an epic novel by Leo Tolstoy, first published in 1869. It is widely regarded as one of the greatest works of literature, chronicling the French invasion of Russia and the impact of the Napoleonic era on Tsarist society through the stories of 5 aristocratic Russian families, including Pierre Bezukhov and Andrei Bolkonsky. In 2012, who was elected as the General Secretary of the Chinese Communist Party, serving as the paramount leader of China? Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping was elected General Secretary of the Chinese Communist Party in November 2012, subsequently becoming President of the People's Republic of China in March 2013. He has consolidated significant power and is recognized globally as China's top leader, overseeing major policy initiatives both domestically and internationally. Which poet laureate wrote the poems, Mount Zion, New Bats in Old Belfries, and A Nip in the Air? John Betjeman. Sir John Betjeman was an English poet, writer, and broadcaster, appointed Poet Laureate in 1972. His work is celebrated for its evocative portrayal of Victorian and Edwardian architecture, landscapes, and social observations, often with a nostalgic and satirical tone. Shostakovich's Symphony No. 2 is titled after which month? October. Dmitri Shostakovich's Symphony No. 2 in B major, Opus 14, subtitled, To October, was composed in 1927. This work was written to commemorate the 10th anniversary of the October Revolution, reflecting the revolutionary spirit and political context of the Soviet Union at that time. Vaughan Williams's Symphony No. 7 is named after which continent? Antarctica. Ralph Vaughan Williams's Symphony No. 7, known as Sinfonia Antarctica, was derived from his music for the 1948 film, Scott of the Antarctic. Composed between 1949 and 1952, it features unique instrumentation including a soprano solo and a wind machine, evoking the stark beauty and harshness of the polar region. Which poet laureate wrote the poems, The Hawk in the Rain, Motown, and Birthday Letters? Ted Hughes. Ted Hughes was an acclaimed English poet and children's writer, serving as Poet Laureate from 1984 until his death in 1998. His works often explored themes of nature and mythology. Birthday Letters, published shortly before his death, is a poignant collection addressed to his late wife, Sylvia Plath. Who was the Prime Minister of Italy from 2011 to 2013? Mario Monti. Mario Monti served as the Prime Minister of Italy from November 2011 to April 2013, leading a technocratic government. He was appointed to address Italy's economic crisis and implemented austerity measures and structural reforms. Which Italian composer wrote the film music for A Fistful of Dollars, The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, and The Mission? Ennio Morricone. Ennio Morricone was an iconic Italian composer, orchestrator, conductor, and trumpeter, widely regarded as one of the greatest film composers of all time. He composed over 400 scores for cinema and television, achieving global fame for his scores to westerns, especially the Dollars trilogy, directed by Sergio Leone. From the King Charles Tower, in a royalist city, King Charles I watched the scattered remains of his army retreating in which English Civil War Battle of 1645. Rotten Moor. The Battle of Rotten Heath, also known as Rotten Moor, was fought on the 24th of September 1645 during the English Civil War, near Chester. It resulted in a decisive parliamentarian victory over the royalist forces, further weakening King Charles I's position during the conflict. In 1958, what was the first airline to fly a jet airliner, the Commute, across the Atlantic? BOAC. BOAC, British Overseas Airways Corporation, made aviation history in 1958 by operating the first transatlantic jet airliner service using the de Havilland Comet 4. This pioneering flight marked a significant milestone in commercial aviation, drastically reducing travel times across the Atlantic. The name of which chemical element of the periodic table ends with the letters Alt? Cobalt. Cobalt, Co, is a chemical element with atomic number 27, known for its magnetic properties and use in superalloys, batteries, and as a pigment. It is one of only 3 naturally occurring ferromagnetic elements, alongside iron and nickel, and is essential for various industrial applications. Which is the only Shakespeare play with an animal in the title? The Taming of the Shrew. The Taming of the Shrew is one of William Shakespeare's early comedies, widely believed to have been written between 1590 and 1592. The play explores themes of marriage, gender roles, and societal expectations through the contentious courtship of Petruchio and the headstrong Katharina, the Shrew. Which Shakespearean play features a British place name in its title? The Merry Wives of Windsor. The Merry Wives of Windsor is a comedy by William Shakespeare, first published in 1602. It is notable for being Shakespeare's only play set in contemporary England, specifically, Windsor, rather than a distant land or historical period. The play features Sir John Falstaff, a character from the Henry IV plays, in a plot involving his attempts to woo 2 married women. Which French phrase, meaning, a decisive action which ends a troubled enterprise, literally translates as, blow of mercy? Coup de grâce. Coup de grâce is a French idiom meaning a stroke of mercy, or blow of grace. It refers to a final blow or shot given to a mortally wounded person or animal to end suffering. In a figurative sense, it denotes a final, decisive action that ends a difficult or troubled situation. The capital of Morocco is Rabat. What was its former capital? Marrakesh. While Rabat is the current administrative capital of Morocco, Marrakesh has historically served as a capital city for various Moroccan empire, including the Almoravid and Almohad dynasties. Marrakesh remains a major economic center and tourist destination, renowned for its vibrant souks, historical palaces, and gardens. What is the world's largest poisonous snake, reaching up to 5 meters in length? King Cobra. The king cobra, Ophiophagus hanna, is renowned as the longest venomous snake globally, primarily inhabiting forests across India and Southeast Asia. This apex predator is known for its diet of other snakes and its iconic hood display as a defensive mechanism. What is the world's most widespread poisonous snake, found across most of Europe and northern Asia to the Pacific coast? Adder. The adder, also known as the common European viper, Vipera barus, holds the distinction of being the most widespread venomous snake globally. Its broad geographical distribution from Europe to northern Asia highlights its adaptability to diverse environmental conditions. Which French phrase, meaning, freedom of action, literally translates as, blank sheet of paper? Carte blanche. The French idiom, carte blanche, literally translates to, blank paper, or, white card. In English, this phrase is used to signify complete freedom to act as one wishes or to grant full discretionary power to someone. The capital of Uganda is Kampala. What was its former capital? Entebbe. Entebbe served as the administrative capital of Uganda during the British Protectorate period. Following Uganda's independence in 1962, Kampala was designated as the new capital, though Entebbe remains significant as the location of the country's primary international airport. On February 19, 1897, Mrs. Hoodless of Ontario, Canada, founded which well-known organization? The Women's Institute. On February 19, 1897, Mrs. Adelaide Hoodless established the first Women's Institute in Stony Creek, Ontario, Canada. This organization was founded to educate women in domestic science and rural community development, growing into an international movement promoting education and empowerment for women. On February 19, 1906, the Battle Creek Company of Michigan introduced which well-known foodstuff onto the market? Corn flakes. On February 19, 1906, the Battle Creek Toasted Corn Flake Company, founded by W.K. Kellogg, launched corn flakes. Originally conceived as a healthy food option for sanitarium patients, it quickly became a widely popular breakfast cereal and an iconic product worldwide. In which country is Lake Disappointment? Australia. Lake Disappointment is an ephemeral salt lake located in the Pilbara region of Western Australia. It was named by explorer Frank Hahn in 1897, expressing his frustration when he expected to find freshwater rivers flowing into it but found none. Which building was principally constructed for the Great Exhibition held in London in 1851? The Crystal Palace. The Crystal Palace was a monumental cast iron and plate glass structure erected in Hyde Park, London, for the Great Exhibition of 1851. Designed by Joseph Paxton, it showcased industrial technology and design, becoming a symbol of the Victorian era's innovation. What was the name of Alexander the Great's horse, said to have been given to him by his father King Philip, after Alexander succeeded in taming it? Bucephalus. Bucephalus was the legendary horse of Alexander the Great, known for its wild temperament that only Alexander could master. This magnificent steed accompanied Alexander in many of his famous battles and conquests, becoming an iconic symbol associated with the historical figure. Margaret Thatcher, Prime Minister from 1979 to 1990, served as a Member of Parliament for which constituency? Finchley. Margaret Thatcher, a towering figure in British politics, represented the constituency of Finchley as a Member of Parliament from 1959 to 1992. She held the office of Prime Minister from 1979 to 1990, becoming Britain's longest-serving Prime Minister of the 20th century. John Major, Prime Minister from 1990 to 1997, served as a Member of Parliament for which constituency? Huntingdon. John Major served as the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom from 1990 to 1997, succeeding Margaret Thatcher. He was the Member of Parliament for Huntingdon, a constituency he represented from 1979 until his retirement from the House of Commons in 2001. In which country is Fiordland National Park, established in 1952 and one of the largest in the world? New Zealand. Fiordland National Park, established in 1952, is the largest national park in New Zealand and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Located in the southwest of the South Island, it is renowned for its spectacular fjords, glacial lakes, and ancient rainforests. What landmark was built in London to stage the British Empire exhibition in 1925? Wembley Stadium. The original Wembley Stadium, also known as the Empire Stadium, was specifically constructed for the British Empire exhibition of 1924, though exhibitions ran into 1925. It became an iconic venue for major sporting events, including the FA Cup final and the 1948 Olympic Games, before its redevelopment. Who was the first black person to win a Wimbledon championship, achieving this feat in 1957? Althea Gibson. Althea Gibson was an American tennis player who broke racial barriers in the sport. In 1957, she became the first black person to win a Wimbledon singles title, a groundbreaking achievement that paved the way for future generations of athletes of color. Which 13th century English monarch issued an edict expelling all Jews from the country? Edward I. King Edward I of England issued the Edict of Expulsion in 1290, ordering all Jews to leave the realm. This significant historical event led to the expulsion of England's Jewish population, which remained officially banned for over 350 years. Which 17th century English ruler facilitated the readmission of Jews to the country after a long period of expulsion? Oliver Cromwell. Oliver Cromwell, as Lord Protector, informally allowed Jews to return to England in 1656, effectively ending the 1290 Edict of Expulsion. His decision marked a pivotal moment in English history, enabling the re-establishment of a Jewish community in the country. What is the name of the 33.5-mile-long undersea rail tunnel, completed in 1988, that connects the Japanese islands of Honshu and Hokkaido? It was, for a period, the longest operational underground railway tunnel in the world. Seikon Tunnel. The Seikon Tunnel, linking Japan's Honshu and Hokkaido islands, was completed in 1988 and held the title of the world's longest railway tunnel until 2016. It features the longest undersea section of any railway tunnel globally, showcasing remarkable engineering prowess. The Royal Society's 1713 report famously sided with Isaac Newton in his long-standing dispute with which other prominent mathematician over the independent invention of calculus? Gottfried Leibniz. The 1713 report by the Royal Society, under Isaac Newton's presidency, attributed the invention of calculus solely to him, fueling a bitter dispute with Gottfried Leibniz. While both developed calculus independently, Leibniz's notation is more widely used today, and his contributions are now fully recognized. In which opera does Police Chief Scarpia appear? Tosca. Police Chief Scarpia is the primary antagonist in Giacomo Puccini's opera, Tosca. First performed in 1900, the opera is renowned for its dramatic plot, powerful music, and tragic ending, set against the backdrop of Rome in 1800. Which underground rail tunnel, over 35 miles long, completed by the Swiss, provides a railway link through the Alps and became operational in 2017? Gotthard Tunnel. The Gotthard Base Tunnel is the world's longest and deepest railway tunnel, stretching 57.09 kilometers, 35.49 miles, through the Alps. It became fully operational in December 2016, significantly reducing travel time for freight and passenger traffic between northern and southern Europe. What is the name of the substance obtained from the dried swim bladders of fish, primarily used as a fining agent in brewing and wine making? Isinglass. Isinglass is a type of collagen obtained from the dried swim bladders of certain fish, particularly sturgeon. It is used as a fining agent in the clarification of beer and wine, helping to remove suspended particles and yeast, thereby improving clarity. In which eastern Mediterranean country is the ancient city of Tyre located? Lebanon. Tyre is an ancient Phoenician city located in present-day Lebanon. It was a prominent maritime trading power in antiquity, known for its purple dye production. Today, it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, recognized for its significant archaeological remains. They also serve who only stand and wait, is the concluding line of a sonnet by which English poet? John Milton. This famous line concludes John Milton's sonnet, "When I consider how my light is spent," commonly known as "On His Blindness." The sonnet reflects on his blindness and his continued service to God, even in passive endurance, emphasizing that divine service is not limited to active work. What type of foodstuff is a morel? Mushroom. A morel is a highly prized edible mushroom, distinctively characterized by its honeycomb-like cap. Found in temperate forests worldwide, morels are sought after by chefs and foragers for their unique, earthy flavor. What type of foodstuff is a morello? Cherry. A morello is a specific variety of sour cherry, Prunus cerosus, known for its dark red flesh and tart flavor. Unlike sweet cherries, morellos are typically used in cooking, baking, and making preserves, often requiring sugar to balance their acidity. In the periodic table of elements, which chemical element comes last alphabetically? Zirconium. Zirconium, Zr, is a chemical element with atomic number 40. It is a lustrous, gray-white, strong transition metal that resembles titanium. In an English alphabetized list of elements, zirconium is typically the last. What is the anthem of the European Union? Ode to Joy. The Ode to Joy is the melody from the final movement of Ludwig van Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. It was adopted as the anthem of the European Union by the Council of Europe in 1972 and later by the EU in 1985, symbolizing the values of freedom, peace, and solidarity. Who took over the important position of Pope in 2013? George Bergoglio. George Bergoglio became Pope Francis in 2013, succeeding Pope Benedict XVI. He is notably the first Jesuit pope, the first from the Americas, the first from the Southern Hemisphere, and the first non-European pope since the 8th century. What is the national anthem of Australia? Advance Australia Fair. Advance Australia Fair was proclaimed Australia's national anthem in 1984, replacing God Save the Queen. It was originally composed by Peter Dodds McCormack in 1878, and its lyrics were later officially modified to reflect a more inclusive tone for the nation. In the periodic table of elements, which chemical element is the only one to begin with the letter V? Vanadium. Vanadium, V, is a chemical element with atomic number 23. It is a hard, silvery gray, ductile, and malleable transition metal primarily used in alloys, especially in the production of steel, to increase its strength and resistance to corrosion. Who was Margaret Thatcher's most famous press secretary? Bernard Ingham. Bernard Ingham served as Chief Press Secretary to Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher from 1979 to 1990. He was a highly influential and often controversial figure known for his combative style and his significant role in shaping the government's public image during her tenure. In a poem by John Betjeman, which lady was described as burnished by the Aldershot sun? Joan Hunter Dunn. John Betjeman, 1906 to 1984, was a celebrated English poet, writer, and broadcaster, becoming Poet Laureate in 1972. Joan Hunter Dunn is a character from his well-known poem, A Subaltern's Love Song, which humorously and nostalgically captures aspects of English life and landscapes. Which strait in the North Atlantic Ocean is situated between Greenland and Iceland? Denmark Strait. The Denmark Strait, also known as the Greenland Strait, is an oceanic strait connecting the Arctic Ocean, Greenland Sea, to the Atlantic Ocean. It is geographically significant for its role in oceanographic currents, particularly the cold East Greenland Current. What was the Roman name for the region known today as Wales? Cambria. Cambria is the Latinized name for Wales, dating back to the Roman period. While the Romans conquered much of Britain, the mountainous regions of Wales were inhabited by resilient Celtic tribes that fiercely resisted Roman rule, leading to a less complete Romanization of the area. Exactly what body is known by the acronym OBR, especially relevant during budget announcements? Office for Budget Responsibility. The Office for Budget Responsibility, OBR, is an independent public body in the United Kingdom, established in 2010. Its primary role is to provide independent economic forecasts and analysis of the public finances, assessing the sustainability of government spending plans. In which city is Frederick Chopin Airport located? Warsaw. Frederick Chopin Airport, Lotnisko Chopina w Warsawi, is the largest and busiest airport in Poland, serving its capital city, Warsaw. It is named after the renowned Polish composer and virtuoso pianist, Frédéric Chopin, who was born near Warsaw. Which is the second largest castle in England and Wales? Caerphilly Castle. Caerphilly Castle, located in South Wales, is a medieval fortification notable for its extensive water defences and concentric design. It is considered the second largest castle in Britain, after Windsor Castle, and a significant example of 13th century military architecture. Alphabetically, which British Prime Minister of the 20th century would be listed first? H. Asquith. Herbert Henry Asquith served as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom from 1908 to 1916, leading the Liberal Party. His premiership oversaw significant social reforms and the initial years of World War I. He holds the distinction of being the first alphabetically among 20th century British Prime Ministers. What was the Roman name for England? Albion. Albion is the oldest known name for Great Britain, used by ancient Greek geographers and later by the Romans. While the Romans eventually referred to their province as Britannia, Albion remained a poetic and historical name for the island, often associated with its white cliffs. Which body is known by the acronym IFS, often highlighted during budget discussions? Institute for Fiscal Studies. The Institute for Fiscal Studies, IFS, is an independent research institute in the United Kingdom specializing in microeconomic and public policy analysis. It is highly regarded for its impartial research on tax, welfare, public spending, and economic inequality, providing crucial insights during government budget announcements. Which Welsh town is located near the ancient Roman fort of Saguntium? Caernarfon. Caernarfon is a historic royal town in Gwynedd, Wales, famous for Caernarfon Castle, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It is situated close to the remains of Saguntium, one of the most important Roman forts in Britain, which guarded the entrance to the Menai Strait. What is the world's highest capital city, situated at an altitude of 11,942 feet, 3,640 meters? La Paz. La Paz, Bolivia, is widely recognized as the world's highest de facto capital city, with government buildings and diplomatic missions located there. Although Sucre is Bolivia's constitutional capital, La Paz functions as the seat of government, perched dramatically in the Andes Mountains. Which Roman poet is most famous for a work known simply as Odes? Horace. Horace, a prominent Roman lyric poet during the time of Augustus, is renowned for his Odes, Carmina, a collection of 104 poems. These works explore themes of love, friendship, philosophy, and politics, significantly influencing Western literature. Which Italian composer, who lived from 1678 to 1741, was nicknamed the Red Priest, after taking holy orders in 1703? Vivaldi. Antonio Vivaldi, a Venetian Baroque composer, virtuoso violinist, and priest, was known as the Red Priest, Il Prete Rosso, due to his red hair. He is best known for his instrumental concertos, especially for the violin, such as The Four Seasons, and his prolific output includes over 500 concertos. Which Italian composer, who lived from 1792 to 1868, was nicknamed Monsieur Crescendo, and was also a gourmet with a famous meat dish named after him? Rossini. Gioacchino Rossini, a prolific Italian composer, earned the nickname Monsieur Crescendo for his innovative and dramatic use of the crescendo in his operatic works. He was also a renowned gourmet, and the classic French dish tendres Rossini, a filet mignon topped with foie gras and truffles, is named in his honor. Which building society was acquired by the cooperative in 2009? The Britannia Building Society. In 2009, the cooperative group completed its acquisition of Britannia Building Society, creating a major new force in the UK financial services sector. This merger aimed to strengthen the cooperative's banking operations and expand its customer base, particularly in mortgages and savings. Which Roman poet is famous for a work known simply as satires? Juvenal. Juvenal, a Roman poet who lived in the late 1st and early 2nd centuries AD, is primarily known for his satire, satires. These 16 poems, written in dactylic hexameter, offer a scathing critique of Roman society, morality, and government, often exaggerated for rhetorical effect. Which unusually named bird, found in Africa, is about 5 feet high, colored gray and black with a distinctive crest, long legs, and hunts snakes and small mammals on the ground? Secretary bird. The secretary bird, Sagittarius serpentarius, is a large, terrestrial bird of prey endemic to Africa. Known for its distinctive crest of long black feathers resembling quill pens tucked behind a secretary's ear, it hunts on foot, often stomping on its prey, which includes snakes and small mammals. Which unusually named black tropical seabird, characterized by pointed wings with a 6-foot span, is known for attacking other birds to force them to disgorge fish, and also catches flying fish as they leap from the ocean? Frigate bird. Frigate birds are a family of seabirds known for their long, pointed wings, deeply forked tails, and a unique kleptoparasitic feeding strategy. They aggressively pursue other seabirds, forcing them to drop their catch, and are also adept at catching flying fish midair due to their exceptional aerial agility. Which country has 3 capital cities, each serving a different governmental function? South Africa. South Africa is unique for having 3 capital cities: Pretoria, executive; Cape Town, legislative; and Bloemfontein, judicial. This distribution of powers across different cities is a legacy of its complex historical development and an effort to balance regional interests. Who authored the Barchester novels? Anthony Trollope. Anthony Trollope was a prolific English novelist of the Victorian era. The Barchester Chronicles is a series of 6 novels depicting life in the fictional English cathedral city of Barchester, known for its satire of clerical and social issues. Which renowned playwright was born on April 23, 1564, and coincidentally died on his 52nd birthday, April 23, 1616? William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare, often regarded as the greatest writer in the English language, was an English poet, playwright, and actor. His traditional birth and death dates, both April 23, highlight his profound impact on literature and theatre during the Elizabethan and Jacobean eras. Which 73-year-old King of Munster was killed at the Battle of Clontarf, near Dublin, on April 23, 1014? Brian Boru. Brian Boru was an Irish High King who ended the domination of the Uí Néill and united Ireland. His victory at the Battle of Clontarf, though resulting in his own death, is celebrated as a pivotal moment in Irish history, breaking Norse power in Ireland. On April 23, 1993, in an unbacked referendum, Eritreans overwhelmingly voted in favor of independence from which country? Ethiopia. Eritrea's independence from Ethiopia in 1993, following a decades-long war for liberation, was a significant geopolitical event in the Horn of Africa. The unbacked referendum solidified the will of the Eritrean people for self-determination, leading to the formal establishment of the state of Eritrea. Born in Birmingham on April 23, 1955, which highly influential chess player became Britain's first grandmaster in 1976, at the age of 21? Tony Miles. Tony Miles was a pioneering figure in British chess, achieving the title of Grandmaster in 1976, making him the first native-born Briton to do so. His rapid ascent and distinctive playing style marked a significant moment for chess in the UK. What was the name of Ethelred the Unready's son who was crowned King of England on April 23, 1016, but died in November of the same year, shortly after being defeated in battle by his successor, Canute? Edmund Ironside. Edmund Ironside was King of England for a brief period in 1016, during a renewed Danish invasion led by Cnut the Great. Despite his valiant efforts, he was eventually defeated and agreed to partition England with Cnut, but died shortly thereafter, paving the way for Cnut's full succession. On April 23, 1968, the first two decimal coins were introduced in the UK. Name either of them. 5p and 10p. The introduction of the 5p and 10p coins on April 23, 1968, marked the initial phase of the UK's transition to a decimal currency system. This major economic reform culminated on Decimal Day, February 15, 1971, replacing the traditional pounds, shillings, and pence system. On this day in 1941, the reigning monarch, King George II, and his government evacuated which European country as German troops invaded? Greece. This refers to the Axis invasion of Greece during World War II, specifically the German invasion that began in April 1941. King George II and the Greek government fled to Crete and later to Egypt to establish a government in exile, as Greece fell under Axis occupation. Born on this day in 1775, what was the first name of the celebrated painter J.M.W. Turner? Joseph. Joseph Mallord William Turner was a renowned English Romantic painter, printmaker, and watercolorist. He is famous for his expressive landscapes, seascapes, and dramatic, often turbulent, depictions of natural phenomena and historical events. Based in Swindon, which is recognized as the world's largest building society? Nationwide. Nationwide Building Society is a British financial institution and the largest building society in the world. As a mutual organization, it is owned by its members rather than shareholders, providing banking and financial services primarily in the UK. In the UK, a public limited company uses the initials PLC after its name. According to the Companies Act 2006, which three letters can be used by similar firms in Wales? CCC. The Companies Act 2006, UK, specifies the legal designations for different types of companies. In Wales, a public limited company can use CCC, CWMNI Cyfeingedig Cyhoeddus, after its name, in addition to or instead of PLC, reflecting the Welsh language. When corporation tax was first introduced in the United Kingdom in 1965, what was the initial basic rate? 40%. Corporation tax, a direct tax on the profits of companies and other corporate bodies, was introduced in the United Kingdom in 1965. Its initial basic rate was set at 40%, marking a significant change in the taxation of corporate entities. What was the surname of the German chemist who, in 1867, established the chemical works in Cefn Mauer, which later became part of Monsanto and then Flexsys. Grierser. Robert Grierser was a German chemist who founded a significant chemical works in Cefn, Wales, in 1867. His company became a precursor to major chemical entities, eventually being absorbed into global giants like Monsanto and later Flexsys, highlighting early industrial chemistry development. Vince Cable served as the Secretary of State for Business, Innovation and Skills. Who was his predecessor and the inaugural holder of that ministerial title? Peter Mandelson. The Department for Business, Innovation and Skills, BIS, was a UK government department established in 2009, combining responsibilities for business, higher education, skills, and innovation. Peter Mandelson was the first Secretary of State for BIS, holding the position from 2009 to 2010. Which soft drink manufacturer launched a new formula for its most popular product in 1985, only to withdraw it 3 months later due to widespread negative public reaction? Coca-Cola. In 1985, the Coca-Cola Company introduced New Coke with a modified formula, intending to revitalize its sales. However, the product change sparked intense public backlash, leading to the rapid reintroduction of the original formula as Coca-Cola Classic, just 79 days later, a notable case study in brand management. From which religious position did Jonathan Sacks, Lord Sacks, retire, having held it in Britain since 1991? Chief Rabbi. The Chief Rabbi of the United Hebrew Congregations of the Commonwealth is the leading Orthodox Jewish cleric in the United Kingdom. Lord Jonathan Sacks served in this esteemed role from 1991 to 2013, providing significant moral and spiritual leadership to the Jewish community and wider society. His tenure and retirement marked a notable period in British religious leadership. In which city was Boris Johnson, the former mayor of London, born? New York. Boris Johnson, a prominent British political figure who served as the Mayor of London and later as the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, was born in New York City, USA. This biographical detail is notable as he held dual UK-US citizenship until renouncing his American citizenship in 2016. Christina Kirchner was the president of which South American country? Argentina. Cristina Fernández de Kirchner served as the President of Argentina from 2007 to 2015. She was the first female President of Argentina to be elected, and the second woman to hold the office after Isabel Perón. Her presidency marked a significant period in Argentine politics, characterized by a continuation of her late husband Néstor Kirchner's policies. What natural phenomenon caused the postponement of a game during the Baseball World Series between the San Francisco Giants and Oakland Athletics? Earthquake. The 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake, a major seismic event with a magnitude of 6.9, occurred during the pre-game show of Game 3 of the 1989 World Series. Centered near Loma Prieta Peak in the Santa Cruz Mountains, it caused widespread damage across the San Francisco Bay Area and led to the unprecedented postponement of the event for 10 days. Which European country are Limoges, Metz, and Mulhouse cities of? France. Limoges is renowned globally for its porcelain, while Metz boasts a rich history evident in its imperial district and cathedral. Mulhouse is known for its industrial heritage and museums. These cities are significant urban centers in France, each contributing to the nation's cultural and economic landscape. Raceaboz is located in which country? Poland. Raceaboz is a historic city in southern Poland, situated in the Silesian Voivodeship. It is known for its medieval castle and a rich past that reflects its strategic location at the crossroads of various historical influences. Which major European mountain range stretches in an arc from the Czech Republic in the northwest to the border regions of Romania and Serbia in the south? Carpathians. The Carpathian Mountains are a significant mountain range spanning Central and Eastern Europe. They are a major ecological hotspot, home to diverse flora and fauna, and a source for many rivers, influencing the geography and climate of several countries. Ljubljana is the capital city of which European country? Slovenia. Ljubljana is the political, administrative, economic, educational, and cultural center of Slovenia. The city is celebrated for its beautiful architecture, numerous picturesque bridges, and the historic Ljubljana Castle overlooking the urban landscape. Since the abolition of the monarchy in 1870, French presidents have also automatically become co-princes of which independent European principality? Andorra. Andorra is a small, independent principality nestled in the Pyrenees Mountains between France and Spain. Its unique political system is a diarchy with two co-princes, the President of France and the Bishop of Urgell, Spain, a legacy dating back to medieval feudal arrangements. Which color is positioned on the left side of the three vertical stripes on the flag of Italy? Green. The flag of Italy is a tricolor featuring three vertical stripes of green, white, and red. The green stripe is on the hoist side, left, traditionally representing the country's plains and hills, white for the snow-capped Alps, and red for the blood spilled in Italy's wars of independence. Which former Yugoslav state became the 28th member of the European Union on July 1, 2013? Croatia. Croatia joined the European Union on July 1, 2013, marking a significant milestone in its post-conflict development and integration into the wider European political and economic framework. This accession represented the culmination of years of reforms and negotiations.